Most people believed the old abandoned valley was empty, nothing but dry grass, broken fences, and rusted barns. But deep inside its silent heart lived the one creature everyone in the nearby town adored. A white, gentle, autistic horse named Lumen. Lumen didn't understand danger the way other horses did. Loud noises frightened him, sudden movements confused him, and he only trusted the soft voices of a very small circle of people. One of them was Evan Hale, a 27-year-old ranch worker who found Lumen as a foal and raised him like family. Lumen didn't like crowds. He didn't like loud places, but he loved Evan with every heartbeat. Every morning, Evan whispered the same words while brushing his mane. "It's okay, boy. I'm right here." And Lumen would press his head softly against Evan's shoulder. But one evening, everything changed. Beginning. The scream in the valley. It was just after sunset when Evan heard it. A sharp, terrified neigh echoing across the valley. He froze. Lumen's voice was unmistakable. Evan grabbed his flashlight and sprinted toward the abandoned barn. Dust blew into his face. The air grew unnaturally cold. Halfway there, he found deep, wide drag marks in the dirt. Something enormous had slithered through the grass, and it was heading straight for Lumen. Evan's heart thundered, but he didn't slow down. He reached the barn and kicked the door open. The sight froze him. A monstrous python, and at least 25 feet long, thick as a tree trunk, had coiled itself around Lumen's hind legs. Its scales were deformed, jagged and pulsing where, like something mutated or mutated again. Its eyes glowed yellow, predatory and unnatural. Lumen didn't run. He couldn't. He was frozen in fear, trembling violently. Unable to process the danger, the snake tightened its grip. Lumen screamed. Evan shouted, rushing forward, "Leave him alone." But he was only one man against a prehistoric-sized killer, and the python lifted its massive head toward him, hissing. Evan knew one terrible truth. If he didn't get help fast, Lumen would die. Middle. The heroes arrive even sprinted back out of the barn and pulled out his phone with shaking hands. There was only one group crazy enough, brave enough to fight something like this. The Ridgefield Rescue Team A trio, known for saving wild animals from impossible dangers. Mira, the team's fearless leader, Case, the heavy equipment tactician Jonah, wildlife expert and snake specialist. Evan barely got the words out. "It's Lumen. A giant python, mutated, he's trapped. Please hurry." Mira didn't hesitate. "We're on our way." Minutes later, the team's truck roared into the valley. They jumped out armed with ropes, poles, tranquilizer guns, and heavy lights. Evan led them inside the barn. The python was still tightening its coils around Lumen's legs. Lumen's breaths were shallow, eyes wild and terrified. Jonah hissed a curse. "That's not a normal python. That thing looks injected with steroids, radiation, something." Mira knelt, eyes sharp. "We don't have time to study it. We have to get Lumen out before it crushes him." Case grabbed the reinforced metal pole. "Plan?" Mira outlined it quickly. Jonah would distract the snake's head. Case would use the pole to wedge open the coils. Evan and Mira would pull Lumen free. If the python attacked, the tranquilizer was the last option. Evan swallowed hard. His hands trembled. Mira placed a steady hand on his shoulder. "He trusts you. Use your voice. Keep him calm." Evan nodded, tears burning his eyes. The rescue. Courage in the dark. The team entered the barn with floodlights blazing. The snake recoiled, confused by the brightness. Lumen panicked at the sudden lights and thrashed weakly. But Evan rushed to his side. He pressed his forehead to Lumen's neck. "It's okay, boy. I'm right here. I won't leave you." Lumen's shaking slowed. He never understood complicated commands, but he understood one thing perfectly. Evan's voice meant safety. Meanwhile, Jonah snapped his fingers at the python. "Over here, big guy. Come on. Eyes on me." The snake lunged at him, but Jonah sidestepped, slamming a metal sheet between them. Case shouted, jamming the steel pole into the coil. "Now!" The python hissed and tightened, but Case pushed harder, muscles straining. Mira and Evan grabbed Lumen's front harness and pulled with everything they had. Lumen struggled, terrified, hooves scraping the floor. The python's coils snapped open for a split second. Mira yelled, "Pull!" Evan screamed, "Lumen, move!" And with a desperate surge of instinct, Lumen lurched forward. He broke free. But the python turned instantly, furious, and launched itself at Evan. Its jaws opened wider than his entire chest. Mira didn't hesitate. Crack! The tranquilizer dart hissed through the air. It hit the python directly in the throat. The giant beast thrashed violently, knocking over boards, barrels, debris, then slowly staggered, weakened, and collapsed into a heavy coil of defeated scales. Jonah exhaled. He's down. Not dead, but down. Case wiped sweat from his forehead. Holy hell. What was that thing? Mira turned to Evan. You okay? Evan nodded breathlessly. But his attention wasn't on the python, it was on Lumen. Shaking, exhausted, but alive. He rushed forward and hugged the horse's neck. It's okay, boy. You're safe now. Lumen pressed his head into Evan's chest, breathing slowly, reassured only by his voice. The team watched silently. Even hardened rescuers felt their hearts soften, ending. A new home. A new start. The next morning, Lumen lay resting in a shaded paddock at the sanctuary. Evan sat beside him, gently brushing his mane. Jonah approached with a report in hand. We analyzed the python, he said grimly. It was genetically mutated. Someone engineered it. Evan stiffened. Engineered? For what? Jonah shook his head. We don't know yet. But we're going to find out, Mira added. Whatever's happening, Lumen stays with us now, protected, safe. Case grinned. And if any more mutant monsters show up, they'll meet us first. Evan looked at his friends, the ones who had risked their lives without hesitation. Then he looked at Lumen. The gentle horse nuzzled him softly. Calm and content for the first time in hours, Evan whispered. You're safe, boy, and you'll never be alone again. Lumen closed his eyes peacefully. In the rising sun, surrounded by heroes who refused to let him die, Lumen finally had something he had never truly known. Security, family, a future, and for Evan, that was worth more than anything else in the world.